Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. Today we're going to be talking about advancing through your reboot. And this is for you if you feel that rebooting, or if you're not rebooting and you're following a traditional recovery process, if you feel that that is something that's quite separate from your life. It's always something that you go back to or you have deprioritized, and you wonder why you keep putting it aside and picking it up when you use it. So I went through this process myself. You will too if you are serious about freeing yourself from your compulsive behavior. So in the beginning, rebooting is something which happens within your day. Eventually, the day becomes something that happens within your reboot. Here's what I mean. Rebooting being something that happens within your day is you get triggered, you experience a strong emotion, you feel very tired or hungry or lonely or sad, and you use a tool, or you need to be reminded to focus on your self-care, or speak to an accountability partner, or enforce a boundary. But eventually, your day sits inside the reboot in the sense that you have done this so many times that you recognize that rebooting is not only a lifestyle, but your repeated implementation of everything in that system has actually helped you change. It's been a guide to self-image transformation. And the moment that you make that realization, then the day becomes something that happens within your reboot. It's not about the hours in the day you come to recognize. It's not about your responsibilities during the day. What it is about is how you go through the day. How you deal with the ups and the downs. Do you react with the strong emotion? Do you overreact to positive things that happen to you to the point that you feel that you need to reward yourself with pornography or sex? Do you overdo it with certain things like sugar or entertainment? All of those things, you become aware of them. It is the how that matters. And this happens at what we call the maintenance stage of your reboot. So we have the pre-reboot, we have the early stage, we have the middle stage, the late stage, and the maintenance stage. And at the maintenance stage, the dimensions of depth and breadth come together. So at first, rebooting does require a lot of effort because you have to remember that you are using the system and you can only, quote unquote, use it perhaps during your morning routine, which is a time that you may have put aside for it, or after a slip or relapse, which means that something significant needs to happen for you to remember that you're actually using this system. But at some point, that skill becomes second nature. And that is when it is not just a habit, but it becomes a part of your lifestyle. So you can go about your life and you still apply these skills while dealing with, let's say, stressful situations. So as you begin to advance and you go deeper into your reboot, you'll notice that you're able to achieve more and more, call it profound states of awareness of your behavior. Profound states, let me actually use a story, something that happened to me just this morning. So this morning, I woke up early because I needed some quiet time to solve a problem that I was having in my business. And it was taking up a lot of time away from other things in my life. And I decided that on a course of action to take. sat down in front of my computer to begin the work, and my internet started having this problem. Now, I have three, just to give you context, I have three different ways to access the internet. But this morning, all three of them went wrong. And while I was solving it, my mind immediately rushed to the other things that were problems in my life, just on its own. I was dealing with something that was potentially annoying, the internet getting in the way of me solving a bigger problem. And naturally, I noticed, wow, my mind is going to what is the next potential problem that could come up? Now, in the past, it would be, well, here we go. The internet sucks. It's not going to work. And I'm not going to be able to fix this problem. And then the problem that was taken away from my day is now going to be exacerbated by the internet problem that I'm currently dealing with right now. And look at all the problems I have to solve today. That is what would happen. And my point is, my mind still does the same thing. The only difference is I am more aware of it. So what my mind did as I began to realize that the internet problem was not fixing itself was go to other problems. Now, I've learned one thing for myself. It is not very helpful for me to fight against my mind and suppress those thoughts. I have learned, and we teach men how to work with your brain instead of against your brain. So my mind immediately identified, if this problem continues, there is one issue that is going to come up, and that's an important conversation that I needed to have with my mother. And the conversation was important because there were many things we had to cover on this conversation, logistics and a few other things. Now, my mind naturally went there to complain about it, like, man, it's going to be, then you have this big thing to deal with my mom. But because I've learned how to work with my brain, my response was, well, since we can't fix this other business problem, and since we're facing internet issues, let's just go ahead and deal with the next big thing instead of worrying about it. And so I called my mother. We had a conversation about what needed to happen. And then I came back to what needed to be done now. And then I started working on that. That is an example of what I would call a profound state of awareness. And I call it profound because it was many years till I was able to, first of all, be aware of what was going on, and secondly, be able to prioritize what to deal with first. So that is what happens when you go deeper into your reboot. But breadth is what happens over time. The depth also happens over time, but it comes with practice of being aware of multiple emotional states based on what you've done in the past, based on what's going to happen in the future. But like, okay, there's this problem I have to deal with in the future, and not being reactive to future situations, and also based on what's happening now. Now, as it gets broader, you're able to maintain those states through more and more challenging and complex activities in life. So this was just a simple example. There are times where shit is going to hit the fan and it's going to be very complex. I assure you, it could be a situation where you are dealing with problems across every area of Reboot Capital. You're losing a friend, you're facing a public scandal, your wife wants to leave you, one of your kids is terminally sick, you just got a diagnosis that something is happening with you, employee just stole from you, you're going through a bankruptcy. Everything goes wrong at a certain point in time. But your ability to maintain these profound state of awareness without going back to pornography or your sexual behavior is an expression of the depth and breadth. And when the depth and the breadth pass a certain critical point, that is when you find yourself living what we call a rebooted life. When I talk about a rebooted life, it's not about excitement or living this awesome, happy life. The truth is, life has a lot of very tough moments. It also has many opportunities for beauty, for happiness, and for excitement. The issue is, if you're listening to this podcast at an earlier stage of your reboot, your natural tendency is to feel that a rebooted life is something that is dopamine inducing, because that is your only reference point. You feel that if I'm not suffering as a result of my out of control behavior, then whatever is on the other side, you don't know what it is, but it has to be something that's better than porn, right? It has to be something that's better than orgasm. And I will tell you right now that what's on the other side, that rebooted life, it's not something that is better than orgasm. It is something that is different, and it is different in a good way. It is different in a way where when the challenges of life come up, you're able to handle them with a lot more ease. And there is a pleasure that comes from having all these crazy things happen to you and recognize that you can stay consistent. You're like, wow, I actually experience joy knowing that regardless of what happens, I am able to handle it without going too high or without getting too low emotionally. The joy that comes as a byproduct of that, the joy that comes as a byproduct of being able to make clear-headed decisions, to be able to see who you truly are, to be able to notice these strong emotions in other people, because when you can manage yourself, you're able to have more clarity when working with other people. It's a joy that I can only talk to you about. But one of my ultimate goals is to actually get you to this point where you are living a rebooted life. So if you would like to be a part of that, click on the description below this podcast episode and schedule a call with one of our strategists. All you need to do is talk to them about how to live a rebooted life. They will help you understand where you find yourself in this process and what you need to do next and what you need to work on next. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.